Hey everyone, Andy here. I get a lot of questions from you, my followers, about my gear and what I like to shoot with and why. So in this video, I will share with you my various equipment kits, including my underwater camera setup, dive gear, mobile video editing suite, drone setup, surface and boat cameras, my equipment bags, and most importantly, why I choose the equipment that I use. I'm currently preparing for a few liveaboards in the Andaman Ocean back to back, and I thought I'd include you in the process of what I like to bring with me and most importantly, why I bring it. I've broken down my process into 4 easy steps so you can incorporate this partially or fully into your own workflow. So without further ado, let's get started. Because I live relatively remote and I need to bring everything with me by myself on boats and buses, I pack as light as possible while making sure I have all the necessary kit that I need. To help me do that, I highly recommend keeping a kit list so that you don't forget anything important. A kit list can be as detailed as you like, down to check marks for each individual battery, or you can trust yourself to remember the details and paint in broader strokes. But before I even get to the gear selection process, I like to sit down and go over what I'm planning to cover while I'm away. Envisioning every possible scenario is hard, but gathering as much information as you can about your locations and shoot can be highly useful. In this case, I'm going on liveaboard trips to the South Andamans and the Similans in Thailand. I dive here quite frequently, so I have a pretty good idea of what I'll need to bring with me. I'm going to be spending a lot of time underwater, but I'm also going to be shooting from the boat and even doing some editing along the way. So once you got a shot plan and a kit list in place, now it's time to select and prepare the gear, and I thought we'd start with the underwater kit. My main underwater setup, the Panasonic Lumix GH7. I will release a full review on this setup soon, but in short, it's very powerful for underwater videography. The underwater housing, keeping it safe, is made by Ikelite and is a durable housing brand that I already have a lot of experience with. They're highly competitive on price, but the main reason I choose them again is that they are the only ones that support the lenses I enjoy using the most for Micro Four Thirds sensors. My number one workhorse is without a doubt the Sigma 18-35mm f1.8 Art Series lens. I say workhorse because it's already been on the water with me for years on my previous Lumix GH5 setup. This is an EF mount lens, and to adapt to Micro Four Thirds, I use a Metabone Speed Booster Ultra 0.71 adapter. I also used the Tokina 11-16mm f2.8 EF mount lens for wide-angle shots, and while my experience with it on the GH5 was good, I need more time to determine how good it performs with the GH7 when it comes to autofocus and image quality. To shoot macro, I go with the Olympus 60mm f2.8. This is the only actual Micro Four Thirds lens that I've ever owned. I enjoy the 120mm full frame equivalent working distance on this lens, allowing you to be some distance away from your subject while still framing it nicely. For the Sigma 18-35 and Tokina 11-16mm lenses, I sometimes combine them with the Kelden Spectrum SF2 red filter to help enhance colors, especially during midday diving. For those early morning, sunset, or deep dives, I like to put on a set of lights, and currently I'm testing a pair of the Dive Pro M35 version 2s. I will have a full review of these lights as well after I've done some more testing. To help me shoot BTS, I use a set of cameras from Insta360, the Ace Pro 2 action camera and the X4 360 camera. Both are the latest generation cameras in their fields, and I find that they have their uses in and out of the water. Keeping me alive and breathing when underwater, I'm going to talk briefly about the scuba diving equipment that I use. My BCD is a Sherwood Shadow, a nice hybrid type BCD that I've come to really enjoy for underwater shooting. It's got integrated weight pockets, and while not sold as a travel BCD, I would say it's definitely lightweight and packs down well for travel. About a year ago, I decided it was time to upgrade my older Scuba Pro regs with some new Scuba Pro regs. I've used this brand professionally now for 14 years, and I can safely say I trust them to keep me alive down there. For my new set, I decided to go with a Mark 11 first stage for tropical diving and an S600 second stage. After a year of use, I have to say I love them. I still use the Maris Excite Pro as my dive fins combined with a pair of Scuba Pro Delta 5mm boots. They work great. It's the only piece of dive kit I've ever done a video on, so go check out that afterwards, link in the description. My previous dive computer died about a year ago, so it was lucky that Shearwater was just releasing their new computer, the Shearwater Turn, just at that time. This thing is perfect for me as a recreational diver with professional needs. It runs about 40 to 50 dives with the screen set to max brightness and charges up in like an hour, so it's no problem keeping it running. Accompanying me while I travel is usually my trusted Lenovo Legion 5 Pro laptop. This computer is amazingly powerful, and while built for gaming, it works great for editing high-quality footage on the go. To help keep it powered, I always bring my Anker 737 power bank 24K, allowing for PD charging of the laptop to help extend battery life. This laptop lacks a card reader, and while you can transfer all your images and videos via USB-C these days, I also bring this card reader from PGY Tech with me. My favorite thing about it is this built-in cable, meaning there's one less thing for me to lose. The very high transfer speeds for UHS 2 cards is nice as well. For extra storage and backup, I bring a 2TB SanDisk Extreme SSD hard drive. These things are tiny, light, and well built, so perfect for my travel rig. Now, I usually don't get to bring my drone with me on liveaboards in Thailand, as I mostly tend to visit the Similans and Surin Islands, which are both national marine parks and hence a no-go for drone flying. However, as my first 2 trips will take me to the South Andaman to a variety of destinations where drone flying is legal, I'm bringing my DJI Air 3 with me as well. Now, the main reason I got this drone is one simple thing, that 70mm lens. I can get bored real quick of the usual 20, 24 or 28mm focal ranges that we've seen for nearly 10 years now, but the image from the 70mm f2.8 lens on this drone is my absolute favorite, and I think I can safely say I shoot about 90% of my shots with this lens. To help me achieve these results, I have a few little accessories worth mentioning. I use a nice filter set from Freewell, which I believe makes the best ND/PL filters for the Air 3 drone. At least they did at the time I was buying it. I like polarizers here in the tropics as I fly a lot near the coast, and it helps me cut down on water reflections, revealing even more of the beautiful landscape on the water. I also opted for the RC2 remote, given its large screen and independent operation. It lasts long and charges quick, same as the drone batteries with the battery charging hub. This gives you fast charging options through USB-C and helps me stay on track to only having to bring USB-C chargers and cables for these trips now. Because my main LAN camera charges just fine with USB-C as well, it's the Panasonic Lumix S5 Mark II. This full-frame beauty was built for videographers, packed full of features to make your life easier. I love the dynamic range, exposure tools, shortcut options, and final image I get out of it. Besides a black Mamba small rig cage, a top handle, and a wrist strap, I don't kit it out for these boat trips. To accompany it, I mainly rely on the Sigma 24 to 70mm f2.8 art. It's a sharp lens that provides a nice image on both spectrums of the zoom range, with excellent autofocus compatibility with the S5 Mark II. To further complement the range, I just purchased the Sigma 70 to 200mm f2.8 sports lens to hopefully help me get better images of things like wildlife, nature, and people. For filters, I rely on both the Polar Pro Quartz Line ND8PL and a Freewell V2 magnetic 3 to 7 stop VND/CPL filter. The Freewell filter is surprisingly good, giving you that perfect range of ND for daytime filming without compromising on image quality. Right, so that's most of the gear that I'll be bringing. In addition to a bunch of smaller items like tools, chargers, cables, and batteries, I'm also bringing personal effects like clothes to last me while I'm away. To carry it all with me across boats and local transportation, I use a 90-liter dive equipment roller gear bag from Scuba as my main carrier. This thing takes all my dive gear plus a bunch of other extras like most of my clothes. And while I can't recommend you get this, I have one of these off-brand Pelican cases to carry my underwater housing kit. It's okay for the most part, except the wheels are super loud, which is annoying. Just to be clear, I don't really recommend you get this, I just haven't upgraded to a Pelican yet. To bring my camera gear and laptop, I use the Lowepro Runner BP450AW Mark II, a great carry-on friendly size bag that fits a lot of stuff, including large laptops. I also recently got this massive rugged Commando Pro 65 shoulder bag, which I'm bringing along on this trip to use for extra storage and better organizing of my kit once on the boat. I've organized all my gear over on kit.co. If you're looking to purchase anything mentioned in this video, you can support the channel by following the link in the description. Once you made your gear selection, it's important to start preparing before you leave. I like to always show up as ready as possible, meaning if something happens or there are any delays, I don't have to struggle too much. All my gear is already good to go. In my case, that means checking that all my gear is updated to the latest firmware and that all the batteries that I'm bringing with me are fully charged. Finally, I also bring some time properly organizing my bags while I'm packing them, so it's easy for me to find stuff once I've arrived at my destination. With that, it's time for me to get a final night of sleep before I go. Thank you so much for watching. If you found anything in my kit interesting, you can ask me more about it in the comments. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.